पॉकेट एफएम इज एन ऑडियो सीरीज कंपनी। तो हम क्या करते हैं, वो स्टोरी वहाँ पे ना स्टोरीज की लाइसेंस ले लेते हैं एंड देन वी काइंड ऑफ कन्वर्ट देम एंड प्रोड्यूस देम। यूएस से ना जो कंटेंट क्रिएट होता है, इट इज आल्सो डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड ऑल अराउंड द वर्ल्ड, राइट? सो there is already a huge market of these freelancers.
So who are you competing with in this market?
Person are looking to watch Stranger Things. You're sold on that series, right? You're not sold on Netflix. You'll probably buy a Netflix subscription because you want to watch Stranger Things. हम प्रॉपर लाइव एक्शन शूट करेंगे, उसको मेटा पे हम चलाएंगे और उसके थ्रू हम यूजर्स को ऑडियो सीरीज पे लेकर आएंगे। इंडिया में द प्रॉब्लम विल ऑलवेज बी ऑन रेवेन्यू सब्सक्रिप्शन।
I don't see a long-term play being in this niche.
Pocket FM is an audio series company which was not that big in 2021. Like they were still trying to do proof PMF in India, and they were trying to set up a team for the US market. Somehow they thought कि यार मतलब इंडिया के साथ साथ हम US market भी grow करेंगे. It's an Indian startup founded in 2018. It's actually not a music app. Audio books होते हैं जहाँ पे let's say there's a novel, there would be like an orator who would orate that whole story. एक orator एक book को पढ़ रहा है ना, that is what Audible is. Pocket FM like by this time had understood that there's a huge market out there. मतलब हमारा जो generation है ना, it's very much we like to consume a lot of content. There was a huge market out there and it was a complete white space because there were no companies apart from Audible. And Audible ना थोड़ा सा content was more like something that people did not enjoy that much because अगर मैं सिर्फ एक बुक पढ़ रहा हूँ ना, इट्स नॉट दैट एंगेजिंग। तो इसलिए पॉकेट एफएम ने ज़्यादा स्पेस कैप्चर किया था। दे हैड ग्रोन क्वाइट अ लॉट बिटवीन 2018 and 20, बट इट वाज स्टिल अ स्मॉल फर्म। एंड देन 2021 में पॉकेट एफएम आल्सो डिसाइडेड दैट यार इंडिया तो हम कर रहे हैं, बट इंडिया में द प्रॉब्लम विल ऑलवेज बी ऑन रेवेन्यू सब्सक्रिप्शन बिकॉज देयर आर नॉट अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल हु आर विलिंग टू पे फॉर द कंटेंट। तो दे डिसाइडेड कि यार हम ना यूएस में सेटअप कर लेते हैं because there is a huge जनता, like एक तो product तो same ही है, need तो same ही है, तो why not do it why not do in a geography which again has a huge population and who are willing to also pay for the content.
So who are these people who are reading these dramatized book? तो जैसे ये किताब है, so first of all, you need permission from the author to read a dramatized version of it?
मतलब हम ना license कर लेते हैं. There are a lot of user-generated platforms that are existing in China, Korea and Japan. तो हम क्या करते हैं, वो story वहाँ पे ना stories की license ले लेते हैं and then we kind of convert them and produce them and then make them live on the platform.
But who's the person who is doing the dramatic reading of it?
Oh,
Is
these
it
are
someone on the
voice over
platform or
artists.
is someone hired by Pocket?
So these are
But is
professional.
that someone
These are professional voice actors. So there's a
but are
huge.
they hired by Pocket FM
Yes.
or are they just freelancers?
So they are mostly like freelancers. US से ना जो content create होता है, it is also distributed all around the world, right? So there's already a huge market of these freelancers. Like you will find people who are trying to voice act like from English to English or English to Japanese, Mandarin, different languages. वो पूरा मतलब बहुत बड़ा यहाँ पे already talent pool exist करता है. तो we usually freelance.
And who do you compete with in the US? First of all, I didn't know of this category. It sounds very interesting. The need is real.
Yeah.
I thought people only listen to Audible and music, but I can understand that Audible is very plain reading, but dramatized reading will be like almost like watching a movie, but not with my eyes, just with the words.
Yeah.
So who are you competing with in this market?
So like surprisingly right now audio space but there is no competition as of now like in the US mix, and that's the reason why we have grown so much.
But Luv, I think you're competing with everyone. You're competing with Spotify, you're competing with Audible,
Exactly.
you're competing with all these podcast platforms.
Yeah.
Because
You're
finally
right.
it's content.
You're right.
All
exactly.
that is content. And my question therefore, now this is what I always think, if I were funding as a VC a startup like this, for me, is it a big enough market? And if it is, why can't Audible do it more easily? Why can't a Spotify do it more easily? All they need is just one segment. Just say now a lot of them have started the podcast thing separately. A lot of them, they keep having more verticals. So for them, it's an
Yeah.
easy win.
मैं अभी लास्ट वीक ही चेक कर रहा था इंडिया में देयर आर लाइक 70 माइक्रो ड्रामा एप्स नाउ व्हिच आर फंडेड लाइक बाय वन और द अदर वीसी राइट
Hmm.
but matlab, actually the problem with this content space and this like Pocket FM has realized in the last 2 3 years, the problem is always going to be content because
Yeah.
it's very hard for like us to kind of engage people on a certain content. Aap like as a user, let's say today you have a choice of engaging with these different OTTs as well, right? But there's a reason why you choose Netflix. Like probably if let's say if you as a person are looking to watch Stranger Things, you're sold on that series, right? You're not sold on Netflix. You'll
Hmm.
probably buy a Netflix subscription because you want to watch Stranger Things, not the other way around. Right? You wouldn't just like take the subscription and then wonder that chalo kuch dekh lete hain yahan pe. Same like
Hmm.
similar is the case with Prime Video. Similar is the case with like hundreds of OTTs that are out there, right? So what we realized that like देखो at the end of day, it's about content and that's the complexity of this whole business. Let's say if I have a great series, I make a whole pilot episode of it. I distribute that on Meta, YouTube, etc. And then users who engage with this content, they'll probably install the app and because they want to listen to more of that story, they'll start listening to it and consume it, right? Eventually. तो ये हमने figure out किया. But then what we realized was कि जब हम audio format हम जब distribute कर रहे हैं Meta पे, तो people were not engaging with it, right? Because then we were competing against these reels, against people who are like trying podcasts, etc., right? तो ये लोग वो मतलब audio थोड़ी ना consume करेंगे and वो ऐसा category exist भी नहीं करता, right? Not a lot of people know that audio में भी ये सब content होता है. तो फिर हमने सोचा कि यार अब ना ये distribute करने के लिए ना we probably have to shoot live action. हम प्रॉपर लाइव एक्शन शूट करेंगे उसको मेटा पे हम चलाएंगे और उसके थ्रू हम यूजर्स को ऑडियो सीरीज पे लेकर आएंगे एंड इट्स अ नट्स आइडिया राइट लाइक नो वन वुड एवर थिंक ऑफ इट कि यार लाइव एक्शन से ऑडियो पे क्यों लेके आओगे पीपल ऑलवेज यूज्ड टू क्वेश्चन दिस बट ये सब काम ने कुछ नहीं किया सो व्हाट वी रियलाइज कि यार ठीक है 5 मिनट लाइव एक्शन बनाओगे तो यू विल प्रॉब्ली सी अ लॉट ऑफ ड्रॉप ऑफ्स हैपनिंग इन द ऐप बट अगर आप 30 मिनट्स का लाइव एक्शन बनाओगे एंड यू एंड दैट स्टोरी एट अ ग्रेट क्लिफहैंगर लाइक एट अ क्लिफहैंगर which makes you desperate to कि यार next क्या हो रहा है story में then the user will 100% install the app and then they'll consume more of that story because now they're sold.
But then you've become a media production company, which is a great business.
This might sound a bit harsh. I don't see a long term play being in this niche. And
No, you're right.
therefore I will stick my neck out and say कि तुम्हारे जो VCs हैं तुमने लाइट स्पीड या जहां से भी पैसा उठाया है उनका एग्जिट ऑप्शन है कि ये ऑडिबल या स्पॉटिफाई या कोई ना कोई आपको एक वर्टिकल की तरह खरीदेगा once you've carved out that niche. It's not
Correct.
like a sustainable independent play.
That's a good question Max. See देखो मैं ना वो अनाज दोबारा लेता हूँ ठीक है जैसे लेट्स से यू स्टार्ट वाचिंग दिस स्ट्रेंजर थिंग्स और अ सीरीज ठीक है अब आपने लेट्स से आपने 6 एपिसोड्स देख लिए now like as a user like you probably would end up binging that whole series over a weekend right
Hmm.
आप तो पूरे 3 4 सीजन जो भी आया है आप 3 4 दिन में इतना ज्यादा वो एंगेजिंग है इतना
Hmm.
अच्छा है वो like it's so good that you'll end up watching that whole series 3 4 days में
Hmm.
but like now that series is just 2 hours production right वो आपने 3 4 दिन में देख लिया हमारे में जो ऑडियो सीरीज है these are 200 300 hours long 350 hours भी हैं so now like as a user if I engage you and I hook you on my content then आपको तो यार 6 months लगेगा कम से कम उसको binge watch करने में like even if you are like crazily binging let's say 3 hours a day